I'm here in Newlyn for Sustainable Seafood Week, and I'm going to be cooking some MSC Cornish sardines right here on Dave's boat. Okay, so this is going to be my hot pickled Cornish sardine recipe. We're going to serve it very simply with a heritage tomato salad and some new potatoes. First of all, I'm going to make a pickling liquor, and then I'm going to butterfly these beautiful sardines. So to make a hot pickle, to actually sort of cook these sardines, I'm going to use some cider vinegar. You could use white wine vinegar, but I love good sort of appley fruitiness that you get from this. And then to that, I'm going to dissolve in some caster sugar, a couple of tablespoons, and if you like a really sweet pickle, you could add quite a lot more sugar, and then a pinch of pickling spices. I'm using mustard seeds, some black pepper, and some cumin. I'm going to add in some red onion. Red onion turns a wonderful pink colour as soon as it's pickled, and we're also going to pop in some garlic, and then one of those classic old-fashioned herbs, bay. Now, bay is a sort of thing, if you've got a bay tree growing in your garden, you'll find it super useful for all sorts of cookery, but it goes really, really well with Cornish sardines. So, got my onion ready. I've also managed to get some fennel seeds just from the garden, which are going to provide quite a nice, like, slight aniseedy back note to the pickle. And a pickle can really be as spicy as you like. You can add all sorts of flavours to it. Get those red onions in there, and then a few bay leaves. I always like using more than one bay leaf. Lots of people are quite sort of conservative with the amount of bay leaves, but put in 3 or 4. It's going to really bring out that flavour. And then I've got some beautiful fennel seeds from the garden. Going to put this in here as well. Want to bring this up to a boiling temperature, and then we're actually going to allow it to cool down. If you pour it straight over a sardine, it will cook them, but it will mean that the flesh goes very soft very quickly. And this is the sort of dish which, if you decide to pickle your own Cornish sardines at home, you can then keep them in the fridge for a couple of weeks. So I'm also adding some dill stalks. So this is the basic pickling liquor, just starting to take shape. Going to add in a couple of cloves of garlic, but as you can see, it's colourful, it's herby, it's full of flavour, and I think for me it's quite a privilege, obviously, getting to cook MSC certified, blue badge, ecolabel approved, fantastic Cornish seafood right here on board one of the very ships that's part of this Cornish sardine fishing fleet. There's nothing better than taking something fresh that's come straight from Newlyn Harbour into the fish market and then getting to cook it. So we're going to move now on to how to butterfly a sardine. You can get them pre-butterflied or in fillets from a local fishmonger, but if you want to have a go at this at home, it's dead easy. The way to butterfly is you create a little V-cut either side of the head, just behind the gill. You chop down through the bone, and then you pull out all of the inside bits, which are little bits of fish guts, and then with your knife you go either side of the spine, just a smooth cut, fold it open, and just use your knife to tease away the bones from the skin, and then you pull out the rest of the bones. The only thing to be aware of with sardines are the little bones, which are edible once they're cooked, but because I'm pickling these, I want to have a really nice salad. So basically it's going to be super fresh. So by butterflying it, I've got little to no bones left in it. All I'm going to do with these is sprinkle them with a little bit of sea salt. I know exactly how these fish have been caught, just out there. And the MSC have been working for over 20 years with scientists, fisheries and communities in order to safeguard the future of fish. So make sure there's enough fish left in the oceans, manage stocks, use all sorts of research, and the amount of trust that gives me in this end product is incredible. It means that when I'm eating it, I can understand the whole journey and know that I'm actually being part of the solution rather than part of the problem. And I'd really like more and more people, to get involved in this seafood movement and really come on board, all hands on deck, and join in. Because once you start cooking and eating a wonderful fish like this MSC sort of Cornish sardines, you'll never look back. It's tasty, it's absolutely fresh, and it's really, really sustainable. So all I'm going to do now with this is leave it for a couple of minutes while I prepare the rest of the salad, just to cure with a little sea salt, which will help firm up the texture. And then we're going to submerge it in a hot pickle, which is really sweet and spicy. So for this salad, I've got some gorgeous heritage tomatoes, and we are simply going to roughly chop them and then give them a decent pinch of sea salt, some lovely olive oil, and the pickling liquor is going to also form part of the dressing. Now, in season, it's no coincidence, tomatoes and sardines at their very, very best. So this really is a wonderful seasonal local dish. I heavily recommend trying it either on a nice piece of toasted sourdough, or as I'm here going to do is like just a simple new potato salad. We're going to finish it off as well with some of these pink pickled onions. While I've been cooking this, you'll see in here, look at this, beautiful pink pickled onions that are sweet and acidic, and they're going to provide like the punctuation almost to give this dish a whole load of different flavors. So I'm going to take these tomatoes, some potatoes, just parboiled new potatoes, and some caper berries as well. Normal capers would do, but these ones are quite big and juicy. And now it's time to do the wonderful pickling of our Cornish sardines. There's no hard and fast rule with this, but I like to check that it's hot but not boiling. What this is going to do is now cook the Cornish sardines in this wonderful pickling liquor. So just pour it right on there, and in the time that this takes to cool down just to room temperature, then the fish is going to be ready to serve. I'm actually going to blowtorch the skins just to give a little difference in texture. But this is simple, rustic Cornish cooking at its best, because we're using fantastic MSC Cornish sardines, and I'm not doing too much really. Butterflied them, pickled them, and we're just going to serve them with a very rustic salad. So I'm adding just a handful of watercress, really as a bit of extra colour, but also because it's super healthy. And this is a seriously refreshing celebration of summer. The sardines have now been pickling and smell and look incredible. So all I'm going to do is plate them up with some of the pickled onions as well, which are going to provide that lovely acidity next to the oily fish. There are some dishes that I love cooking as a chef, and there are others that I just love eating, and this is one that ticks both boxes. It really is summer celebration of Cornish sardines, perfect for Sustainable Seafood Week. All I'm doing is just torching the skin slightly, just to add a little bit of drama, and because it's not often you're allowed to have a fire on a boat, so serve this straight away with some sourdough. I hope Dave's going to love it as much as I do. And there's a whole bunch of my recipes for Sustainable Seafood Week all over the MSC's social media. Check them out. All my favourites. Oh, yummy. Ready to dig in. Look at that. Oh. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's good.
It's no nonsense, is it? It's not particularly fancy, but for me, like, sometimes people get too carried away with seafood, trying to do too much.
Sure. So it's basically just cured with the vinegars rather than...
Yeah, so it's like it's a vinegar pickle, basically, that does the cooking, and then it's just been blowtorched at the end just to sort of give it a little bit of that umami, burnt barbecue char, yeah.
Very nice.
I mean, I think that if people just tried Cornish sardines, they wouldn't look back.
I don't think so. Very affordable and healthy meal.
And a great source of protein. You know, you've got loads of these people going out and buying protein shakes and, I don't know, like, you know, pea proteins, but actually the ocean provides so much of the world's protein. Yeah. And here in Cornwall, we're lucky to have, you know, your shoals. I mean, how much have you been landing recently? Like, last night? Or?
Yeah, last night wasn't. We don't want to talk about last night.
Okay, the night before.
I think the night before we had 10 tons of sardine.
Wow. Oh, that's a decent amount.
Yeah, that's a good night.
I mean, I wish you luck tonight with a good bit of fishing. Like, is the weather good? I mean, it's lovely for me.
It's set good for the remainder of this month, I think.
Yeah.
It's really quite unseasonable, isn't it? We're getting into mid to late September.
And then it will get
and we're not having to look at weather forecasts, so it's always good.
Well, I hope
Nearly as good as the food.
Ah, cheers.